What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today, we're going to be talking about Chimera and my Chimera team. Recently, I've gotten a bit of new love for this format. Usually, I'm not a big fan of Chimera, and I kind of dread it every week. But lately, I've been getting a little bit more motivated for it. And a lot of it has come down to Wixwell. Wixwell has actually made the format quite bearable, I think. Ever since Chimera was introduced, it was basically Marius or Ninja, at least for my roster. There just wasn't any other viable damage dealer. Now, we have Titus in the mix. The best thing about Titus, actually, is that the team around him is really, really solid, meaning that the tankiness of the team is actually quite strong, so you don't have to constantly juggle reviving people and having people fall over like with some ninja teams that I was using. And yes, it is RNG dependent whether you lose the shields and all that, or getting your buff stripped at the wrong times. Um, Among other things, there's lots of RNG things that can happen in the Titus runs. But honestly, I find it a lot more enjoyable. It's a lot more consistent, at least for me. But yeah, maybe we'll talk through the run, and I'll show you guys more details about the team afterwards. Let's get started here. So we starting off here with the basic, Titus team with the Wixwell, Mikage, Lydia, and then our other spot here is actually going to be Owella. So the reason why Owella is in here, so she's in the 5th spot. But the reason why she's in here is because actually she's really important. She brings decreased speed as well as increased resistance. Really, really important champion. So let's watch this a little bit here. I'll give you guys a little bit of pointers what to do. So of course we start off with a shield set. You got to put a shield set on somebody. We'll go over the gear sets as well afterwards. But usually what I like to do with Mikage is, you can kind of see here, she transforms right away, and then she's going to place the increased accuracy. So increased accuracy helps you handle some of the trials against the ram heads. So increased accuracy gives you that option there. But of course, you're going to be losing, a bunch of Mikage's base form abilities, like her extension, which is really important. So we'll run this through a little bit here. So we'll go Lydia, decrease defense, and weaken. Increased resistance has to happen right away. Otherwise, the lion's going to strip off all your stuff right away. So you have to get it out before he takes a turn. There, we're going to extend with Wixwell right away, because we want the extension on the increased accuracy right away, as well as the shields and all that. If we don't do it right away, then we're going to have them fall off, especially since we are basically transforming Mikage. Mikage is one of our extenders, so we're not getting as much value from the Wixwell extension and growth because we don't have, his shield that he places on. You guys might have noticed in this team that I have, I actually have the Magma Shield. So I was lucky enough to have the Mythical Relic Magma Shield. Now, you don't need the Magma Shield. The Magma Shield just gives you more damage. But having it, obviously, you have to manage it. You have to make sure it's extended and all that as much as possible. And of course, the main champion you want to have that on is on Titus. Everybody else, it doesn't really matter. But you do want shields on most of your team to protect them from damage. You can kind of see here, Mikage did take an extra turn. She took an extra turn because of her relic, the Raven relic. You get it from Faction Wars Hard relic materials. It's really good. Whenever she uses her A1, it gives her, I forgot what the base rate chance is. It's like 10% base rate chance of getting an extra turn if she has one of her abilities on cooldown. So it's really good on somebody like Mikage. So that's what we use here. She gets an extra turn, really good. Helps her cycle back to her metamorph ability. So here we got Owella with the extension heal, very useful actually. And now Wixwell is going to place the A3. The A3 is really important because the A3 brings the increased defense, the 3rd shield as well, and also intercept buffs. You don't want to place his A3 on Titus, even though it kind of makes sense to place intercept buff on your most important champion. You don't want to put the intercept buff on Titus because it's going to fill up his buff bar. As you guys may or may not know, the buff bar only goes up to 10. So if you put the intercept buff on Titus, it fills up his buff bar, and then he's going to miss out on some pretty important buffs. So yeah, you gotta be a little bit careful about that. So we place it on Owella because she is the hit target for the ram head. This way, it kind of prevents her, potentially from being stunned and all that. So we put it on her instead. We'll let this run. And then we just kind of cycle through. We're prioritizing extensions. At least in the beginning, we have to prioritize the extensions a little bit. So even though Mikage's ally attack was up and available, we have to forego it for the extensions, at least for a little bit until we get everything going here. The landing and decreased speed, really big deal. Obviously, we haven't had an opportunity to land it until now, so we just landed it. And now we're finishing off everybody's buffs here with the increased crit damage buff from Lady Mikage. And then we just basically cycle through our abilities. As you can see here, extension, basically a max growth extension there from Wixwell. And yeah, we're just going to cycle through. Pretty good. I think damage-wise, about 10 million when going into the ram head. We're going to play this out a little bit, and then we will talk a little bit more about the ram head situation. You see Mikage here. Mikage is going to be the one that can outrun her buffs because she does have an opportunity to take extra turns. That's okay. That's okay. The most important champion to have all the buffs on is basically Titus. Obviously, the other champions, you want them to still have the shield to protect them from incoming damage. But, you can get away with like one shield, or you can get away with one shield. Just the Wixwell shield you can get away with. But you also want to make sure Oella doesn't lose all her stuff as well. It shouldn't happen. It should not happen as long as you prioritize the extensions on all the champions with the extensions. So Wixwell, Oella, Mikage. So here she gets extra turns, goes right into extension, which is really, really nice. And yeah, we're just playing it through here. Let's enter the the ram head first, and talk a little bit more there. All right, so we're going into the ram head. Come on. Fifth turn. So basically when we're coming up to the fifth turn here, so the turn before he transforms into any form, we really want to save our main abilities here, especially since we are trying to tackle trials. Now this team, the reason why I actually really like this team, like I said, it's consistent, relatively consistent. It's tanky. You don't have to worry about a lot of small things. If it's going to fail relatively early. Basically, it's a trial team for me as well. So it's actually pretty good at getting trials. So lately I've been clearing off some of the harder trials that I wasn't able to get previously. For example, like mythical trials, and getting some extra mats along the way. So it's kind of nice, and also pitching in some damage for my clan, which is really good as well. Now, obviously there's some RNG involved and all that, but for me, this team doesn't require any crazy, crazy team champions or relics or anything like that to be useful. All right, so it does transform into a ram head. You notice that the ram head did target Oella. So the ram head does target the champion with the lowest crit damage. So you can set that up. So we set it up so that he targets Oella. The reason why we target Oella is because Oella is kind of the least useful one. Everybody else we need. Everybody else we need. You could use Lady Mikage, I guess, but Lady Mikage also brings the ally attack, which forces their A1s in. And it's really important for Lady Mikage to use the ally attack because it forces Lydia to use her A1, which has the chance to land the fears. The fears are really important because it allows us to deal damage against the boss, which gives us the opportunity to clear some of the trials. Obviously, the main goal of this. We'll see this in action here. We're going to go with the extension right away. Of course, we're still prioritizing the extension whenever we can. It lands the decreased attack, which is really good because the ram head in the first stage, he does send back the first debuff. So here he sends back the decreased attack, which is awesome because now we want Lydia to land the fear. We want Lydia to land the fear right away. This is a little bit of RNG because Lydia, in order for Lydia to land the true fear, it's only 60% because I have a 6-star soul. But it's going to be lower percentage if you have not a 6-star soul. For example, a 5-star soul, I believe it's 45% chance to land the true fear, and this is using the nature's bounty blessing, which basically flips a small version into a big version. And it gives you a chance to do that. So this is really important for the fear. Like I said, it helps you clear the trials. I'm going to run it here. The ally attack goes in. Lydia, in this case, she does land the true fear, right? And decrease speed as well from Oella. Very good. This is perfect setup here. So Titus can go in with the A2. So he goes in with the A2, and now he's gonna do the damage against the boss with the true fear on, and this is going to clear one of the trials right away. So boom, trial done. We could have waited, but the problem with the ram is that when you wait, there's no guarantee that you're gonna get a turn back before he takes a turn. I know like the team speeds on my my team, I know Titus won't get another opportunity, which means the fear could fall off. And that doesn't guarantee that it'll come back on at the right time. So I just kind of took the trial completion with that first hit. You could definitely wait and try to clear the decreased defense and weaken one. But we just decided to clear the first trial and off to races. We also have the increased accuracy trial to clear. So we're trying to land the debuffs right away. We should have increased accuracy on everybody. This should clear it there. No, not quite. I think we're missing one. The ram form gives us the most trials. Cool. Land the fear again. Okay, this time we land the smaller fear, so we can't go in with the A2 for the big slam. Otherwise, we just kill ourselves. I think it's decreased attack we're missing. There we go. Clear the trial. So yeah, this team has basically just enough debuffs to clear the debuff trial with the accuracy. So yeah, at this stage, kind of just picking our spots here. We really need that true fear on to do lots of damage here. Clear some of these trials. There we go. We hit the A1 and we were able to get through, but then the ram took a turn and then we lost the fear. So that's a little bit of RNG, right? You have to kind of have the timing align where Lydia lands the fear and then your Titus gets a turn. You see there that we actually did clear another trial. Yeah, so Titus didn't get a turn while he was under fear, so it's a little bit annoying that way. And then now we're landing the wrong version of the fear. All right, so you can kind of see here the trials that we're working on. Working on the weaken, and then we're trying to kill, do damage with the increased crit rate, crit damage buff, which we have on. It's extended and all that. The other really big one to focus on is that these new trials, some of them also give the 4-star basalts, which is a big change. The 4-star basalt is really nice. It's just going to accelerate the leveling of the relics. So it's really important to clear some of these, fully deplete the Chimera's dual bar. With Titus, you can definitely do it with just basically like one big hit. Or a couple big hits, sorry. But yeah, one big hit, you can actually do it, 8 million damage. And then this one is really tough to do with our team, the decreased defense perfect veil, so we don't have the capability to do that, so unfortunately. You can kind of see here, ally attack from Mikage is very useful. It gives basically Lydia extra A1s to try to true fear the boss. Is really huge. I'm just gonna go in. He's not able to do any big hits or anything like that because Lydia's A1 didn't true fear. Still not yet, and then that's gonna be it. We're back to the ultimate form. So unfortunately, we weren't able to clear, all the key trials for the Chimera and the Ram head, but we do have an opportunity to come back and clear the trials for the Ram form again. Let's jump to the Lion form, and we'll talk over some pointers over there as well. All right, so we're entering the Lion form. So the Lion, if you guys didn't know, will target the champion with the highest defense. So in this case, Wixwell is our highest defense champion. It makes total sense, obviously. He did get buffed. The Lion did get buffed. He's going to do a lot more damage now. So make sure that you guys come into this fight with good amount of shields. It shouldn't be too much of a problem if you guys were able to survive the Ram form. So yeah, Wixwell's going to get hit. There are some stat requirements for Wixwell because he might still die, even though his shield is kind of ginormous, because the boss does ignore shield. Having a little bit of healing from the Owella does help, so saving the A2 extension up until this fight is actually kind of useful. So we'll play this out here, but he's going to go after Wixwell, ignore a bunch of defense, ignore a bunch of stuff like shields and stuff. There we go. We need to make sure he heals up, otherwise he's just going to keep taking damage through the shields and then eventually die off. So Well is going to come in here with the big heal. Okay, this time we used the decreased speed because we wanted more turns, I guess. But you definitely want to get the heal in ASAP. Not too many trials here from the Lion form. So Lion form, you get a trial by attacking it after having increased defense and a bunch of buffs on yourself. And the other trial is hitting the Lion when the Lion has a bunch of debuffs on. And I think the other one is that we can clear is the ally attack one, ally attack counter attack one. You can take a look here. The shield one we can actually clear. So this one with the 3-star buzz salt, we can actually clear it with this, which is really good, right? Because obviously, full team full of shields. It's pretty good. And you have to get to this trial relatively early in order to take enough damage to clear this. And sometimes it might take the second rotation of the of the lion form to actually clear this. Now this one's relatively easy one, trial 2. Decrease speed, decrease defense. This one we can't do, unfortunately. Trial number 3, easy. We can't even land a single leech, so that's not going to work out for us. So not too many trials here from the lion form. Most of our big trials are going to come from the ram form, actually, which was honestly one of the reasons why I really hated Chimera, because the ram form just feels a little bit overtuned, very tricky to play, and obviously a lot of things you have to manage, like killing off your team and all that stuff. So let's see here. I think we're okay. That's about it. At this point, we're just kind of just pumping him damage. One more big hit and we'll clear the middle trial. Yep, the decreased speed trial. So we're done there. So this one is ally attack one. So that's the next one that we can do. So what's left for the line form is ally attack, counter attack trial, and the shield trial. So we just kind of have to get all the ally attacks in ASAP. Wixwell taking a lot of damage there. Well with the heal is very, very useful, of course. And then, of course, decrease attack. If you guys can land it relatively consistently, it's pretty good. Wixwell has negative affinity on this rotation, so it's a bit of a pain, especially when we were really relying on his decrease attack debuff to land. And I think that's going to be it for the lion form. Let's jump over to the viper form, and we'll do the trials over there. Not many trials on the viper form, unfortunately. Yeah, we're pretty close to clearing up the lion here. I think we got this last turn. Are we going to be able to do it? 50 million slam there from Titus. For my team, I think I'm going to do... I've seen 60 mil from Titus before, but about 50 mil per hit. Big slam, I mean. Are we done here? Come on. There we go. This ally attack should do it. Get the last bit of the trial there. There we go. 7. And then we'll pick up the shield trial when it comes back around. All right, so jumping into the Viper form here. So it's not too much issue against the Viper form because we have so much resistance. They can't strip our buffs or anything like that. Yeah, we're just going to lay down the debuffs on him right away, especially the block active. The block active because it's part of a trial. So we get that on, and then we just want to just pump damage into him. And the Viper form is actually the softest one, so you deal the most damage against him. So here we're thinking about whether we want to extend or Premier Boost. You kind of have to mix it in sometimes, depending. There we go. Big slam in, clearing the trial with the damage with the block active. We're at 8 trials right now. I think there's probably going to be... There we go. Let's stop here for a second here. We can't do the poison sensitivity one, unfortunately. Just not enough damage from Lydia. Block buffs, HP burn we can't do. And then we can't do the decrease attack. No, sorry. We can do the decrease attack, increase speed. This one requires a little bit of RNG because Wixwell needs to land the weak affinity decrease attack. In this case, it's not landed yet. But we have a couple opportunities to do it. Here we go, and it lands. Luckily, we landed it this time. We should be able to clear it with one big hit from Titus here. So like I said, with the Magma Shield, your damage goes up quite a bit, but even without it, you have plenty of damage to clear these trials in basically one hit. At this point, we're trying to get back to Titus's A2, slam into the boss, and then we can clear that trial real quickly. High resistance, pretty nice. There we go, big slam, and we cleared it. Up to 9 trials. Having a quick look here. So we can't clear the increase attack block debuff trial, unfortunately, for the mythical mats. And then basically for the Viper form, we're all done. We can't do any more trials here. Let's move on, finish up the Ram. All right, so we're going back into the Ram form for the second time here. Again, Owella is the target, gets hit there, that's totally fine. Missed the decreased attack, so that kind of sucks. So we have to go ally attack, and then the fear and decreased speed gets sent back to us, which slows us down a little bit. But we're going to try again here. Decrease. Oh, and our decreased defense gets resisted. So a little bit of a bad start here. Let's see how this goes. It's a big one because this is where a lot of the big trials are. We can get the 4-star basalt by clearing the duel. Really have to land the big version of the fear so we can get things going here. So not a great start here on the second rotation of the Ram form. Titus can't use the slam because no true fear. Trying to get Lydia. Finally, we land the true fear. Land the decrease. We don't land the decrease attack, but it's not super important anyways. Okay, you guys see there, I saved the ally attack, right? It's really important to save Mikage's ally attack when the boss has the true fear on, because you want to save the ally attack for when you're set up so Titus gets a turn to attack into the boss. You know, basically set him up for Titus to get an attack in. But right now he already has a true fear debuff on him. You don't want to use the kind of waste the ally attack and get Lydia to use the A1 into the boss again. So ideally you want to save the ally attack for a situation when the boss doesn't have true fear. So then you give Lydia a chance to land her true fear afterwards. All right, let's see. So stuns happening to Owella. Increase defense and weaken. And no fears yet, but we got the ally attack ready. So here we go. Ally attack. Hopefully Lydia lands the fear. And she does. True fear right there. Up to 10 trials now. And now we got Titus's big slam coming in, and he's going to be able to clear the dual trial here. Boom. There it is. Dual trials gone up to 12. That's a big one because it gives us the basalt, right? The fully deplete Chimera's duel gives us the basalt, which is really, really good. And then this last trial here, we can't clear. So I think we're done here against the Ram form. And now we're back into the Lion form. We do have a couple trials left on the Lion form. And we just cleared it. It's the shield damage, preventing damage from shield or absorbing damage from shield. And we just cleared it. So we basically hit the absolute maximum for this team. We're at 13 trials for this team. It's actually really, really good, considering that when Titus was first introduced into Chimera, it was basically like a low trial team that you don't use very often. But now we have a workable 13 trial team that can actually farm you some decent resources. So yeah, really, really happy with this. I mean, this is, it's doable, but obviously there's a bit of RNG involved, obviously. So we'll skip through some of the other gameplay here, and I'll show you guys the end results. All right, guys, so we'll skip through the rest of the Chimera run, and we'll just jump straight to the results. So this is the result of the 13 trial run. We're getting 12 mythic mats. We're getting all the basalt here, which is really nice, and we're doing a ton of damage, helping our clan out, which is really, really solid. You can kind of see here our total damage with this team: 25 billion damage clash points, 1.36 billion with the final score that we got, and 13 trials completed. 13 trials will be the maximum for this team. We can't do any more, but depending on the rotation, you're getting a pretty good amount of resources. You're getting 12 mythic mats. I think I'm happy with that. It's a decent mix of damage, resources, return. And also, for the most part, this team is relatively accessible. You get, you know, 2 free champions and 3 fusions. It's relatively accessible. I wouldn't say the gear is not accessible, I would say. The gear takes a lot of, you know, takes a lot of time and effort to assemble, but the champions are a big bottleneck, right? And like obviously the top trial teams require mythical champions that I don't have access to even. So yeah. And in this case, the week before, I actually did 18 mythical mats with a Titus team, which is actually insane, right? So 18 mythical mats with the Titus team. So now these Titus teams are actually able to, you know, do a decent amount of trials as well, and you know, just kind of make it worth your while, right? So for me, this team, I love it. It's amazing. It's, like I said, it's more accessible than many of them, many of the top performing teams. And I'm able to contribute. That's a big thing. Anyways, guys, here's the team. I'll show you guys everything here. Like I said, it is a full manual team. Like if you want to do maximum trials and all that stuff, it's full manual. If you don't care, you can probably still rent full auto and still be pretty successful. If you want full trials, you got to do manual. That's the way it's going to be, guys. But yeah, I'll show you guys the champion here. We got Lady Mikage here. She is in Reflex and Impulse. I find Reflex and Impulse, it does make the run a bit smoother. It gives you a little bit more extensions, which makes things smoother. You could run 9-piece protection. I was running 9-piece protection and it still worked. You get a little bit more damage out of it because obviously the extra 10% damage you get from 9-piece protection. The bonus here from her buffs. But it's not necessary. If you just want a smooth run, then Reflex Impulse works pretty well. You want her to be pretty fast, like overall speed. We got 342 here. The boss is 300 speed, so you want all your champions ideally, or all your supports to be ideally be faster than 300 speed. Stat thresholds for this team, you're looking for about 400 resistance plus on everybody, 400 resistance plus. And you are looking for probably around 350 accuracy, because we can't rely on increased accuracy to be on everybody all the time. And I also put Lady Mikage in the lead for her aura, just to help out with the accuracy. You really don't want your debuffs failing, and you really don't want to be relying on having increased accuracy up all the time. We do run her with Perch Shadow. She gets a 14% chance. I should probably level this up, but 14% chance of getting a extra turn when using her default skill. This is a really perfect relic for her at this moment. I run Cruelty 6-star because I don't have 6-star anybody else. Otherwise, I probably would run Brimstone on her. You want your team to at least have one Brimstone champion. Make things a little bit easier. Masteries, whatever masteries works for you. We got her down to extended buffs, extended debuffs, and then Eagle Eye for some extra accuracy. So that's Lady Mikage. We'll go on here. Now let's check out Luella. So Luella is actually really strong in this comp. She handles quite a bit. The biggest thing about her is her increased resistance. Now this makes it so that the stat requirement on your champions are a little bit easier, but it's still relatively high. You have to build up minimum, I would say, even without Luella, you have to build up a minimum of probably closer to 500 resistance, just to have a decent shot at resisting all the heads, except for the ram head. The ram head is actually ridiculously high accuracy, so you need crazy resistance to resist him. You see like my Wella still not being able to resist the ram head with 440 resistance with the resistance aura. It still wasn't enough, so you need way more resistance against the ram head. But yeah, increased resistance, very good. She brings turn meter fill, which is awesome. Big one as well. And heals great here with the increased duration. That's the big thing for her. But the other thing is the decreased speed. The decreased speed is a must. She handles a lot. She's in a shield set. If you can do shield set, merciless set, that's great. 310 speed. We got decent HP. And then, of course, the accuracy resistance for this is insane. But you need to do it to get this team to work properly and smoothly. Brimstone on her, really good. Brimstone helps with the debuffs and all that, handling the trials. Journal of Necrosis helps a little bit, heals and turn meter there, so that's really good, perfect for her. After that, let's talk about Lydia. Let's talk about Lydia here. Very important champion. Yeah, we put her in a 9-piece Pharaoh set, so she has 4 debuffs, so potentially 20% extra damage. She's relatively fast, 338. The rest of her stats just to survive. Crit damage, we have her 500 accuracy, 446 resistance. With boosted resistance, she should be strong enough. Accuracy is overkill accuracy, but that's kind of okay. It's fine. I don't have a crazy relic on her. The relic that makes sense is whatever stat makes sense for you. So I probably put this on her because I need her crit damage to be higher than the other champions, so she doesn't get targeted. That's probably why. Um, and then the big thing on her is you need this blessing, guys. Nature's Bounty. This blessing is absolutely insane because it gives her the opportunity to change her A1 fear into true fear. So this fear can change into true fear. And that's what you need against the ram boss so that you can deal maximum damage against it and clear the trials. So unfortunately, I have a 6-star and it's 60%. So ideally, guys, you really want the 5-star. You have 45% chance of landing the bigger version. I mean, even 5-star can be very frustrating when you don't get the, when you don't get the coin flip, right? You don't get the coin flip at the right time. It's going to be very, very frustrating. So for me, I got a 6-star. Luckily, obviously, the winning the training tournament for the 6-star is still paying dividends on Lydia. Just an incredible, value for her. But yeah, 60% here. You really want this. Make your RAM performance a lot better. War Master on her just present some extra damage. But Pharaoh for me seems the best on Lydia for sure. And then after that, we have Wixwell. The next one we have is Wixwell. We got Wixwell here in a 9-piece protection set. I think it's fine. We got him at 309 speed. He is the highest defense of the entire team, so he gets targeted by the lion head. For him, same thing. We're looking for about 400 plus resistance, 400 plus accuracy if possible. You can probably get away with maybe 350 accuracy, especially if you're running aura. And you really want his health pool to be relatively high. I would say minimum 65k HP because that's kind of the only way you can kind of survive the lion head, because he probably will get one shot sometime, especially if you don't have the healing to back him up. So you could run comps with like continuous heal and all that stuff, and that might be useful too. But we run Owella here, which is really good. Gives him a big heal back. Protection, set to have protected, shield buffs and all those buffs. It's useful. And yeah, we got the Volcardiac Heart. So we got the Magma Shield. Yeah, this is a big help for damage. But it's, otherwise the team still runs, right? It still runs perfectly fine, but it's good for damage. We got Brimstone here for him. We got 2 Brimstone champions because we need to land the debuffs. And yeah, we got the War Master there for some extra damage. Last but not least, the man that makes it all happen is Titus. So this is my Titus. Yeah, we got him relatively fast, 244. A little bit faster would be nice. 6.2k defense, 353 crit damage. Titus is, I don't know. Titus to me is awesome because he basically allows a lot of people to, do a lot of damage for a champion that doesn't need crazy requirements. Yes, he needs resistance, but he doesn't need accuracy. He doesn't need crit rate, right? It actually is. It's not bad. It's not a bad trade-off. You don't need the crit rate. You need resistance, which is a kind of a weird stat, but it makes it a little bit more viable. And a lot of people are actually benefiting from this, being able to do a lot of damage. And we're not gate kept by just having mythical teams with Galacthier, Androck, and like Toshiro and all those guys. So Titus can definitely contribute. I have him at 6-piece Merciless with Zeal. This is the highest damage setup you could have. And yeah, we're running Cat's Gaze for extra ignore defense. We got the Boss Killer gem here as well. Extra damage against the boss. Heaven Cast because there's no better selection for him. Once you get to 6 stars, you get the Crushing Ren. But up until then, you take Heaven Cast for the extra 10 buff damage boost. And then we got Helm Smasher here. The other ones don't really matter. I mean, I guess I could take this, but he's never going to lose this much amount of HP, so he gets no value from it anyways. And yeah, Titus, yeah, definitely changed the game. He changed the game for Hydra, changed the game for Chimera. He's made the damage numbers like absolutely nuts. Not sure if that's a good thing or not, but he made them. Yeah, it's another situation with another Trunda situation, right? But yeah, going over some of the gear pieces here. We got some pretty good gear pieces, to be honest. I was like, wow, I was kind of surprised at how well some of these gear pieces are, but he uses some wacky pieces, right? He uses pieces with resistance, and like at the same time, he doesn't want HP percentage. So like this piece is like perfect for him. This Zeal helmet, like otherwise it's just kind of trashy, especially with the resistance. But for him, it works. For him, it works. So yeah, those are the team builds. So I just want to mention one other thing here. So when you have the team set up, like I said, I have Lady Mikage here in the lead for her accuracy aura. If you don't need the extra accuracy, you just put Wixwell in the lead spot. That works as well. But I want to mention that when you set this team order up, you do want Lydia high up in the team order so she casts her A1 first, so she can have the chance to land the fear first. The other thing to consider is that you want the shield set to be placed ahead of the magma shield, because the damage will flow through the shield set first, and usually the shield set will have more shields to eat through before depleting. So if you put the magma shield in ahead of the shield set, then the magma shield will take damage first, and usually the magma shield is smaller, therefore has a higher chance of getting depleted. So just a small thing, a small little detail there to consider. Anyways, that's going to be it. This is a 13 trial team. Excellent. Yeah, very consistent. Handles some of the trials really well, and yeah, we're able to get some mythical mats along the way and help out the clan as well. Not super accessible for everybody, obviously, because of the gear requirements. Stat requirements are quite heavy. Some blessings definitely help, but the champion requirement is way more accessible than a lot of the top teams. And this is one of the top teams available right now, guys. So anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys. I know a lot of you guys ask me about like how my Chimera teams are doing. What do I use? What kind of performance am I doing? And this is basically it. This is what I'm going to use. I love this team. I think it works really well. It's super consistent and I'm able to contribute. So anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Have a great day. Thanks for watching until the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.